If you want to hear about St. Louis, tune into the Bucket List Show weekly. Hear what Marissa and Luke say. It drops every Wednesday. Got a dope new guest every single week. Buckle up for the ride. Who's it gonna be? Who's on the show today? They rep St. Louis. What to do in the loo on a late night, or maybe what to do on a date night. Yeah, Bucket List has you covered. They know what's going on. What's going on, they'll give you, hey, 18 different things to do, or 19 if you need one more to choose. Yeah, this city is a place we call home. A place we call home, yeah.
The STL Bucket List Show is driven by Bommarito Automotive Group. Bommarito is Missouri's #1 car dealership, and they are proud to represent the #1 podcast in St. Louis, the STL Bucket List Show. We've personally purchased several vehicles from Bommarito, including our last one, which we recently just had another baby, so we had to upgrade to an SUV with third row seating. The entire team, John, Chuck, they all treated us like family. There's really nowhere else that we would buy a car in Missouri other than Bommarito Automotive Group. Enjoy the show. St. Louis, it's Luke with STL Bucket List. We're here with another episode of the STL Bucket List Show, highlighting the people, places, and events that make St. Louis special. We have one of those people in the studio today, but before we get started, I want to just shout out my podcast producer, Julia, who produces the podcast each and every week. We drop new episodes every single Wednesday, highlighting entrepreneurs, movers and shakers, people that are making a difference in St. Louis. And then the people that listen every single week. Our show has continued to grow over the last 3 years. I'm pretty sure if you're listening to this now, this is episode 198, 199. So we're getting close to episode 200. And then, of course, our partners and our sponsors, Bommarito Automotive Group has been an incredible partner for us. All of my family cars are from Bommarito. We love what they do. John, Chuck, the entire team there, First Community Credit Union, Upshot Coffee, Urban Chestnut, Suede. All of these companies really allow us to continue to grow and work with, partners. So we have a new partner in the studio today, Berkshire Hathaway, Select Services, Select Home Services, Select Properties. It's always a tongue twister for me, Maryann. So,
biggest name in real estate.
The biggest name in real estate. So we have the CEO, Maryann Vitale Alles. She is the CEO of Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices, Select Properties, and was recently named one of St. Louis's most influential businesswomen by the St. Louis Business Journal, which you dropped off to me today, which I appreciate that. Under your leadership, the company has earned the distinction of being the #1 top workplace by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch for over a decade, and it's a rare achievement built on trust, vision, and culture. But beyond all the accolades, Maryann is rooted in something even more powerful, her values. Those values guide the way she mentors, empowers, and inspires others, whether it's her family, which I noticed yesterday how you treated everybody like family. You were working the room like it felt like a wedding reception yesterday. And you're a St. Louis native with Italian roots, growing up right here on the hill. We have a video coming out soon highlighting your neighborhood and your childhood home. And it's those deep roots that have shaped how you lead today. You're not just running the company, you're shaping the culture, the values, the people, and the progress. Is that a pretty good bio of what you're doing?
Wow, that was great. Thank you.
Shout out to your marketing team. I know Kylie's probably listening right now. So I want to get started by learning a little bit more about you. So if you can share a little bit more about your journey growing up, what kind of led you to a life of real estate?
Well, thank you first off for having me here today, and congratulations on your award.
Thank you.
So my father, he used to buy apartment buildings, and on the weekends he'd have my brothers and I clean the apartment buildings. So I kind of grew up with the real estate in mind. And then got my license and I sold, and then I started to build teams. And then we, in 2002, when two of the largest companies merged, it was an opportunity for us to make a difference and have the consumer have a choice. So we started what now is Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices Select Properties, with over 500 agents. And I think that what differentiates us from others is that we give exceptional 5-star service, which a lot of people say they do, but we work really hard on treating every one of those sales as if they're very, very unique, no matter what the price point is.
Yeah. No, I think that's unique, and agents are so important when it comes to your life decisions. They're some of your biggest life decisions that you make.
Right.
Your home is last year we bought a home and a business in this building, and my agent, my cousin, was able to work late nights. She was emailing me, texting me in the morning. Like the hours that she was working on this project was like, I don't understand why somebody wouldn't use an agent. Everybody's like, oh, I'll just do it myself. Or I'll negotiate, or I'll do this. Like the agents she talked me out of things that I wasn't aware of because I was excited. I was like, oh, I love that house. But she's like, hey, it's as is, this thing, this thing, this thing. And like, she's like, I don't want to put my name on a house that you get into because I'm going to feel bad when you have those issues down the road. So I want to learn a little bit more about your career in real estate though, because it seems like building a team was always important to you. So a lot of real estate agents are solo. They go out, they do their thing, they build that. But why was building a team important for you? Because building a team takes time. It takes, people management, but then also you still have to make sure that the revenue's coming in so that your team can be successful.
So the biggest thing about building a team is that you have to make sure that your values are aligned.
Mm-hmm.
So if you start to feel like you can't be all to all, it's time to think about what is falling through the cracks.
Mm-hmm.
Like what am I not doing for the consumer that is giving them that 5-star experience?
Yeah.
So, I always believe you should hire to your weakness.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're losing buyers or losing any kind of situation where you can't give them that 5-star experience, then you want to find somebody who can pick up the slack. Like, I don't believe agents should be doing paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
That's a waste of time. So hire a transaction coordinator. If you're losing buyers because you're getting so many leads and you can't follow up with them, then hire a buyer's agent. So that's what we do. And we help them because a lot of agents are not business savvy.
Mm-hmm.
They're very good salespeople, but they may not know how to run a business. And that's why they want to join us, because we can help them treat this like a business. And they actually can become CEOs of their own team.
Yeah.
And that's what we do.
First Community Credit Union is the official banking partner of STL Bucket List. They've been serving St. Louis families for 90 plus years with 40 plus local branches and over 400,000 members. From personal credit loans to mortgages to kids and teen accounts, they also have a partnership with the STL Blues. You see Louie here if you're watching on YouTube. We're proud to use First Community. I use it for my own family and my own business. We're excited for them to be the official banking partner of STL Bucket List. And you build other micro leaders throughout the company. And
yes.
I was at your guys' breakfast of your top 10% performers, and seeing the agents that have been there for a long time and have sold millions and millions of dollars of real estate. But it all came back to taking care of one family at a time, one person at a time. And that's how you grow a business. So I wanted to talk about some of the mentors and influences along your journey, because you've been in this industry for a long time. And obviously there was probably mentors that helped you along the way. Is there anybody specific that really helped guide you into this world?
I have to say that if I had to name one person, it would probably be my business partner, Deb.
Yeah.
We've known each other for 40 years with our former company, but she is really very, I don't know what the right word is right now, Lucas, but probably inspiring for me because she's very encouraging. She's very supportive. But in addition to Deb, I have to say that the agents and our staff and all the employees, I mean, they're very inspiring because they work hard. I mean, real estate is fun and we like to play hard, but we work hard too. Delivering excellent service is hard. So, but I also am fortunate because within the Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices network, I've had the privilege of being around other very successful business people who have phenomenal organizations, and we share our wins, our losses with each other. And it pushes me to be even better.
Yeah.
Some of these companies are much larger than we are, and they're coastal companies, so they're very big. And I just want to always be better. And by surrounding yourself with good people, helps you be better.
Yeah.
It challenges me every day.
Yeah, and it helps you stay motivated to get up every day and keep chasing, that next thing, because now at this point as the CEO, you're building futures for other people. And that's what you're doing. You've already been successful in your own right, but it's like, how can you create success for all those people in the room yesterday and beyond, And so I wanted to talk a little bit about home. So we know you're from the Hill. It's super special to build a company in St. Louis when you're from St. Louis, because the neighborhoods. You've seen, you've been in real estate for 40 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've seen a lot.
Wait, it's longer than you've been alive.
It's okay. But you've seen all these different developments and all these different trends, and you've been through some pretty major economic downfalls. You've been through some bull markets where things were going really well. Obviously 2008 you touched on yesterday. Even 2020 was unique. So I want to talk a little bit about home, and what does home mean to you personally, and what does it mean to build a business here in St. Louis?
Well, personally, home's always about celebrations, birthdays, anniversaries. We have between my husband and I, we have 6 children, and we have a house with a pool, which has been great because the kids love. We celebrate all the birthdays, like I said, and anniversaries. But I also think it's a place that you come to when after you've worked really hard. You come home, you get comfortable, you relax, you set in, and you just kind of unwind and think about. It's your comfort space, right? And it needs to be a place that you can just chill out and think about. Tomorrow's another day, and it's going to be a great day. So just get pumped up for it.
No, I love that. And I think as I start my family, it's like, creating space for your kids and grandkids and really giving them, getting together with family. And that's what I love about being in St. Louis is I love to get to see my mom every day, and I love to get to see these people. And I know that sometimes kids are like, oh, I want to go chase this thing in another city, but you don't realize how much time you have left with your parents and grandparents and other things like that. Because I read this thing is like after they're 10 years old, most of the time you spent with your kids are over, because they're going to have their own friends. They're going to go off to college, and then you're going to see them 5-6 times a year. But it seems like you get to see your family a lot more than that, which is special. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about St. Louis. What neighborhoods, what developments are you guys looking at, and what are things that you guys are excited about as a real estate company? Are there any specific cities, zip codes, developments that you're seeing in St. Louis that you guys are excited about right now?
Well, I think that for us, I think St. Louis is so cool because there's so many neighborhoods. And so we look at it like hyper locally.
Yeah.
So if you start with the city and you think about, we just opened, it's been 2 years, office in Benton Park. Benton Park is thriving.
Yeah.
It's so nice to see the city and what's happening in the city. And you heard me yesterday at the breakfast when I said our city office is up by 65%. So that's really good news for the city because you can see that it's thriving.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's Soulard, there's just Fox Park, there's Central West End. And, even though it was hit by the tornado this past summer, they're coming back and it's thriving. And then if we move a little bit farther west, you get into Kirkwood and the De Pere area where you see a lot of tear downs and they're building brand new homes. So we have that in our city. We have, mid-century homes, brick, historical. And then as we move even further west and you go into St. Charles County and you have Cottleville, which is, there's so much talk about Cottleville right now and how, the people are in golf carts and it's just a cool neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
And then, St. Charles County is booming and it's all moving west, even to Troy, Missouri. And then on the east side, Edwardsville there's a lot of new construction in Edwardsville. And then right now, our luxury market is off the charts. People are looking at our luxury market now in St. Louis as their second home.
Really?
Which we haven't seen that in a very long time. So
For over 150 years, SSM Health has been providing hope, healing, and opportunities to the St. Louis community. With over 40,000 employees across 4 states, they're not only delivering exceptional care, they're one of the region's largest employers, shaping the future of healthcare. We're proud to present SSM Health as the official healthcare partner of the STL Bucket List Show. If you've dreamed of a career where you're truly making a difference every day, SSM Health can help you take that to the next step. Learn more at their website in the link in the show notes. Wow, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there is so many luxury homes. Like I love, driving down Wydown and going through Litzinger Road and like seeing some of those homes that have been around for 60, 70 years. And you see these generations of families that are moving into these homes. But then also the affordability that we're seeing in South County. And, you mentioned like mid-century homes. I think of Crestwood and these smaller zip codes that people are moving to and building new homes, rehabbing old homes. But the city data is actually really exciting because for the longest time, the city had been losing residents, but it seems like now we're starting to see a turn and more people buying these historic homes. And Benton Park, like you mentioned, is amazing. And some of those homes, like you can't build that anymore, and these 3-story homes in Lafayette Square, those beautiful homes you see. So we're starting to see a lot of people preserve that history. And it's interesting to me because I was just in another city. I was down in Texas, and when I think of St. Louis, it's like you have like this all the way, you mentioned Troy, Missouri, and then you go all the way out to like Illinois, O'Fallon, Shiloh. That's like a 50, 60 mile strip if you head down that street, and there's all people that live in these communities where other cities are very, very hyper local. And then once you get 10 miles outside of the city, it's like nothing anymore. So St. Louis, I feel like, and I talked to a lot of your agents yesterday. I talked to somebody out at the Edwardsville office who's one of your top performers, and they're like, show Illinois some love. And it's like people need to, hear about all these young families that are moving to Illinois and the cost of living there. And then you mentioned Cottleville. But it seems like your guys' team, really, really tries to stay connected. Just from following you guys on Instagram and social media, you guys give back, you stay connected to the community outside of just the transaction of real estate. So we were at your golf tournament this year, so that was an incredible turnout. But talk about some of those things that you guys do outside of just real estate to give back and connect with the community.
Yeah, I'm very proud of our team for, the philanthropy that we do. For the Sunshine Kids, which are kids with cancer, we chose that when we started the company, and we've given $1.5 million to the Sunshine Kids. And we're always in the top 10 in our network. And as I mentioned earlier, we're not the biggest in the network, but we do give back. Our agents help the community, our leadership team. When the tornado hit last summer, I mean, they got together, they went and picked up debris, they brought supplies to people that needed it. We also, as a community, we are now doing a food drive. We do that every November. We donate hats and gloves to kids in December. It's almost every month. We're doing something different locally, in addition to the Sunshine Kids.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And it's fun to get outside of like real estate when you're at the golf tournament and get people in a different environment and connect with your employees and your agents that way. So I want to shift a little bit to some of the real estate market and trends that we're seeing. I know interest rates have been a big conversation. How do you see those impacting decisions in real estate in the next year?
Well, if you look at the market as a whole right now, if the house is in perfect shape, by that I mean, let's say that they've neutralized it, and the agents help them with staging the homes to prepare it for the market. So those are still getting fast sales, multiple offers, and even though our inventory's picked up a little, and some of the buyers are still waiting for the interest rate to drop, but some, you're still going to have life changes. People are going to get married. They're going to have more children. So they're still going to move regardless of the interest rate, although it's predicted that the interest rate is going to drop a little bit. So I think that, the agents are using strategy to help a buyer in getting under contract, which when they first start off, they'll get a little frustrated because they'll have all these needs they want, right?
Yeah.
So they have to shift from what do you have to have or what is it you can live with?
Mm-hmm.
And those are two very different things. So once they adjust to, okay, I've lost out on 3 contracts because of multiple offers, maybe we can do without a garage.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we can do without, 2 bathrooms or what have you. So that's helped getting a lot of buyers under contract. But as you said earlier, Lucas, they really need to work with an agent
Yeah.
because an agent knows the strategy to what concessions can they ask the seller to get it under contract?
Yeah.
Is it best to buy down the rate?
Mm-hmm.
Can the seller help out with that? Or should they adjust what they need and want in a house?
Yeah, it's so interesting because I think in 2023, when I was searching for homes, we had put 8 or 9 offers in on homes, and that was when it was really hard to get homes, when homes were going $50,000 above asking price.
Oh,
and
yeah.
we ended up deciding to build for that reason, is because we're like, okay, we can build and we can actually get exactly what we were looking for. But there was those things where it's like our agent was like, okay, well this home only has a 1-car garage, or this home has 2.5 bathrooms, not 3. So like generally you're not, most homeowners aren't going to get exactly everything they want, and agents kind of help set those expectations when you meet them, because first you get pre-approved and you're like, okay, well this is what your budget is, and these are what the market is telling you what's available within that budget.
Mhm.
And then when you go to look at these homes, you find different things. But agents are amazing. I mean, not only do they help, find you the home, for instance, so you don't have to look for it yourself. When you get there, and when you mention the negotiation, is like, oh, can they repaint the house, or can they throw this in, or can they waive closing, or can they cover our closing costs to help us get into the home at a lower rate, instead of paying those closing costs, or, oh, the roof, like getting the right inspections. I didn't even know what radon testing was. I didn't know what any of these things were, but these are important things when you have kids in the house and different things like that, is having somebody investing the money to have these inspectors come out prior, because people were waiving inspections and stuff to get into homes at one point. And I know a lot of agents are really against that. Don't waive that inspection. So
Yeah, it's a difficult decision to make.
yeah. But that's sometimes competitive, is these homeowners that are selling, they're like, oh, well, we want them to waive the inspection because we just want this thing to close, and there's so many things with these trends. So what advice, as most of our listeners that are listening to the show are in that 21 to 35 age range. So these are a lot of your first time home buyers in St. Louis. What advice do you give to first time home buyers in St. Louis right now?
I would say the very first thing that they should do is get pre-approved,
Mm-hmm.
not pre-qualified. There's a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
So get pre-approved, work with a lender. Hopefully they'd work with one of our agents, which would partner with Nations Lending, and get a pre-approval. And then once again, I think they really need to decide what they can live without. And remember that it's better to get into your first house than to continue to just sit back and keep waiting for the perfect house.
Mm-hmm.
And just think about what they can live with. And because the houses are going to appreciate, and depending on the area, at least 5%.
Mm-hmm.
So get into the house, get appreciations, and then decide what you can do.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of cosmetic things that you can do to a house that are going to be great improvements down the line. And then decide on the maintenance, how much you really need to put aside for maintenance to keep the house up. So when you do get ready to sell it, you're going to get the highest price, and it'll be ready to be put on the market.
Yeah.
I always think that even today, and we're probably not going to sell our house, but I always think, okay, we should do this for resale.
Yeah.
So always think whatever improvements you do while you're living in that house, that you do it for resale value.
The STL Bucket List Show is proudly sponsored by Suede Dispensary. With 11 Missouri area locations, Suede does so much for the St. Louis community. We've been working with this team for a couple years back since medical was here, and we're excited to support their new product launches, events, and community initiatives. We couldn't be happier to work with this premier cannabis brand, and we're excited for them to sponsor the show. Enjoy the rest of the podcast. That's true. Yeah, that's actually a really good point, especially like as us as a young family. So we're 30 and we got 2 little kids, and we're already like, okay, well, we know that this is our first home, but it's like generally a lot of these new homeowners think that they're going to get their forever home on their first home. And that's just not the case. I mean, what does the data look like? I mean, from like, you know, cause you have a lot of data from home buyers, but people come back to you guys sometimes every 5 years, maybe even sooner than that, just depending on families. But generally people buy maybe 3-4 homes before they do get their forever home. Like you mentioned, it might be yours right now. Like you never know, but there could be a point where you're like, I don't want to do the maintenance anymore. Let me downsize this. You know, I'm sure you probably have talked about that too before.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, I'm always thinking this is forever, but I because I'm in the business, I still look at property and think, maybe we should move.
Yes.
But I guess right now, the average person stays in their home 5 to 7 years or less.
Oh, wow.
Because if they're getting in their first property and we're in a multiple contract situation, it might just be a couple years.
Yeah.
And then, you know, depending on what the market does, and then they might not stay for 5 or 7 years, but that is.
Yeah, no, it's so, there's like so much knowledge about homes, but then when you're in it, there's this like anxiety as a buyer that you get. So that's why having the agents is like almost like a therapist for you to help you. That's how I feel. And it's like, because you're like, I don't know what to do. What would you do? And then the agent's like, really you're acting on your behalf. And it's like, they have that pressure and that privilege of being like, I'm making these people's dreams come true. Cause a lot of these families are like, oh, I want that third bedroom because I'm having a baby, and like you're getting to place them in these homes. So what are some of those agents? I mean, it seems like your agents are hyper passionate, the ones that are attracted to your guys' company. So what are some of those stories that you have about these agents of like, you know, because they've sold families' homes. Like some of the agents that I met yesterday have probably sold parents, their kids, and their kids. So like that privilege of being able to work with families through generations and stuff like that.
Right. I think if I lined up our top agents, right, they're wildly different, but they have one thing in common. They all want to help people, and they know what their why is. They want to give, you know, 5-star excellent service, and they want to be they want to have that lasting relationship, right?
Yeah.
They want to be able to sell to you, and then you refer them to someone because they had such exceptional service. And you mentioned earlier about living in your house, and I don't know how long you said, a year or so.
Yeah, but a little bit over a year.
Okay. Yeah. Well, the thing that I would recommend that you do, Lucas, is that agent who sold you the house, when you're thinking about doing something to that house, reach out to your agent and say, you know, we're contemplating painting this color.
Yeah.
What do you think? Even though you're not thinking about selling right now, just do it. And that way you only have to do it once.
Right.
Rather than make a bad decision. And then when you decide to sell and the agent comes over and it has to tell you, you might want to neutralize this, or you know, maybe you redid your bathroom.
Yeah.
The agents are attuned to what is the best decisions to make.
Yeah.
If you need a plumber, you know, the agent's a resource for a plumber, electrician, any kind of contractor.
Yeah.
And that's how they become the agent forever.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so, you mentioned helping people, because a lot of these things aren't direct revenue driving things that these agents do. They do a lot of work that doesn't result in a payday until that new home sells, you know. And I noticed that with my agent is she worked 100 hours on it, and it took us 6 months. And then she finally was able to get the commission that she deserved from that project. But sometimes they just do a lot of work just to help these people. Like you mentioned, like some of these people call the agent like, hey, I for every little thing. And it's like, they're just always on their phones. Like I saw them yesterday. They were all texting people yesterday while you were talking, which I know they probably felt bad, but they were working. They were working.
Oh, they're always working. They're always working. And you know, you're right. Sometimes you're working with a buyer for 2 years.
Yes.
And it just, they get beat out, but they hang in there, and they know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
And
no, that's inspiring. So I want to talk a little bit more about Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Select Properties, and how your approach to the St. Louis market is a little bit different than maybe some of the other regions. Because I know that from the talk yesterday that you visit some of these other regions and you probably talk to other people in other cities. And how do you think that the St. Louis approach is a little bit different than maybe some of those other regions?
Well, first off, we have affordability.
Mm-hmm.
Housing affordability is probably, I think last time I read, it's like 67% lower than the coastal areas. And not only that, you get a lot of house for your money.
Mm-hmm.
It, a nice 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom home you can buy for $250,000.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you can't go many places. We're attracting a lot of people from those coastal areas because of how far our dollar does go.
Mm-hmm.
So we focus a lot on that and how the affordability here is so great. And some of those areas I spoke about earlier, I think why the consumer likes it is because of the walkability.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have great restaurants here in St. Louis. I travel a lot with my position.
Yeah.
And by far, we have some of the best restaurants. And I'm kind of a foodie, so
Yeah.
I like that and I compare. But yeah, I just think St. Louis is a great place to live. And we're kind of one of the best kept secrets.
Yeah, and then you spoke about like the neighborhoods and then also the communities, the walkability, but then also like great public schools. You know, not
Great
many
public schools.
other regions have great public schools. So then you also have the expense of sending your kids to private school on top of expensive housing and different things like that. So that's really good to know that people are moving, or you're seeing that in Texas too a lot. Like companies are moving to the Midwest because, you know, the astronomical rates that are in California or New York or these other places. And I love those cities. I love New York City. I love those things. But, you know, it's like if you can't afford as a young professional to live there, then what else, other options do you have?
Right.
You know, so and then we talked about how the housing market here is unique. And I really wanted to get a little bit more insight on how you guys kind of play in helping neighborhoods thrive here, because you're really promoting these neighborhoods. Your agents are really megaphones for these individual neighborhoods. Like, you know, when I talk to some of your agents that sell in Kirkwood, like they're supporters of the city of Kirkwood and they're helping families move in there. That also helps the local shops, the local restaurants. So what are some of those roles that Berkshire Hathaway plays in helping neighborhoods thrive here locally?
Well, I think they look at each neighborhood differently, right?
Mhm.
Kirkwood's going to be a lot different than even Webster, which is they touch.
Yes.
But Webster has more historical homes. So you have to look at each home individually. I mean, Kirkwood, you're going to get new build right next door to a home that might be, 100 years old. So each neighborhood has to be based on what is there and what the competition is. And I guess, and if you look at Cottleville, I mean, where was Cottleville 5 years ago?
Right.
You know, so as they're looking at each area, they have to look if there are tear downs in that area and what's been built there, brand new.
Yeah.
And look at each individual home as it is.
Looking for something light, crisp, and absolutely refreshing? Zwickle Light by Urban Chestnut is the official light beer of the STL Bucket List Show. It's less than 100 calories, and it's the perfect drink for summer. Enjoy a beer at the beer garden, in the Grove, or chilling at home in the backyard with your friends and family. This episode is sponsored by Upshot Coffee. 3 St. Louis area locations in Cottleville, Break Shop in St. Charles, and their new Hi-Fi location in Clayton. I personally use Upshot Coffee every day at my espresso machine at home, and I try to visit one of the shops at least once a week. They source the beans responsibly from local farms all across the world, and they take care of their staff and they take care of the community. Let's get back to the show. Yeah, it's so unique because you can have any experience, and even in Cottleville, like you mentioned, you have your new builds, but there is a section of homes that have been there for a long time too.
A very long time.
So I want to kind of wrap things up by tying in things to St. Louis. So when I think of STL, I think of my bucket list, my favorite things to do in St. Louis. We got to tour the Hill with you last week and got to see some of your favorite things to do in St. Louis. So just to give our listeners some insight, what are some of the restaurants that you love to visit? What are some of those places that you love to celebrate at? We can kind of go through some of the hill spots that we already visited. But if, let's say, you have some people in town, like where are some of those places that you're taking some of those people in town to really showcase them what St. Louis is
well,
like?
as we visited last week, Lorenzo's is a great place. There's so many good places on the hill, and you can go to the delis on the hill. The experiences can be totally different. So I always like to take them to the hill. Charlie Gito's is great. So, but I love Annie Gunn's.
Yes.
I think Annie Gunn's creates that. I mean, the food is amazing, but besides the food, the atmosphere is great. So I love going to Annie Gunn's. I like going to, let me think of some of the other places. There's
Annie Gunn's has that nice little smokehouse market. You can bring some of that stuff home and create some of those dishes at home. That smokehouse market is nice.
It's very nice.
Yeah.
We go there a lot. Some of the other places I like, in Benton Park, there's wait, it's coming to me. Fraser's.
Yeah, Fraser's.
Fraser's is a great spot.
Yeah.
Our office is right down the street.
Peacemaker's kind of over there.
Peacemaker
Great
is
lobster rolls.
great. Kirkwood has great restaurants that you can go to. Boy, I'm trying to think of them all, Lucas.
We went to Shaw's Coffee. We went to a couple
Shaw's Coffee.
We have a picture of you in the jail cell or in the bank cell. Which was a good one. And Di Gregorio's.
Di Gregorio's is great.
You were talking about delis and sandwiches. St. Louis has some amazing sandwiches and stuff like that. So, it's great. But we were at Lorenzo's, and what I thought was really interesting when we met, first of all, the owner let us in there early. He got there. He pulled up, let us in there. Which I thought was amazing hospitality and really let us take over the space. We were filming and we got to see the chef's table, which that was the first time I've seen a chef's table in St. Louis.
I think it's a great hidden secret.
So there's a chef table at Lorenzo's. You have to go through the kitchen, and then there's this glass room where you can see the chefs cutting up, preparing the tomatoes, making the sauces, and then they probably just bring dishes into you, just directly into you and explain the dishes and stuff like that. Annie Gunn's, Chef Lou over there, he's been there forever, I think. And that family is just a great St. Louis family. And that place, that place is packed all the time, so hospitality, I think of hospitality. That's why I think that a lot of you real estate agents are foodies too, because you respect the hospitality when you go there, because you guys are hospitality people as well.
Right.
Because I think of real estate agents as like, as hospitality members, you guys are, taking care of your customers the same way. It's just a different experience, So that's why I think that you enjoy good hospitality as well.
And there's so many, down there, like you mentioned earlier, Lafayette Square.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't remember the name, but we go there a lot for brunch. And
I'm trying to think. Lafayette Square, Squires.
No, across the street. Sorry.
No, you're fine. We can add it in. I'm trying to think. Polite Society.
Polite Society.
Yeah, Polite Society.
That's a great place.
Yeah, Bailey's Chocolate Bar is right there. You can get the chocolate martinis right next door to there.
I prefer to go to places that are local.
Yes.
Here in St. Louis.
Yeah.
More so than the franchises.
Yeah, and there's a lot of local places.
There is a lot of local. There's a new one that opened up that, and I wish I could remember the name of the street, but it has a nursery.
Okay.
Do you know which one I'm talking
am I thinking
about?
of Maypop in Webster? Or,
no,
it has
it's
a
in
nursery.
the city. The little nursery, and it has the restaurant in the front of it.
Oh my gosh, I know
It's
exactly
great.
what you're talking.
And another one is Louis.
Yeah, Louis.
Louis is great. And the tavern. What's the other one that's owned by Louis?
Wright's Tavern.
Wright's Tavern. That's a great one.
Matt McGuire, and he owns Box Hill Grocer. That little grocery store is really nice too. Oh, I'm thinking of Bowood, the brunch spot with the nursery connected.
Yes.
That place is amazing.
Bowood is a great place.
But yeah, there's so many incredible local restaurants that they're really, there is no reason not to try to go support these restaurants, because you're getting sometimes you're getting a better quality of service. The food is sourced locally as well by local farmers. And then you're supporting other local entrepreneurs that those people that own those restaurants are also people that buy homes in the neighborhood as well, that use agents that work for your company as well. So it's like, there's so many great places to go to, from, like you mentioned, Chesterfield all the way out to all these different city neighborhoods. But yeah, Bowood And then I was thinking of Maypop. It's a coffee shop over in Webster. They have a big nursery in the back. It's like an old home.
Right.
So it's fun because you can get a coffee. And if you're waiting, so Bowood, it's hard to get a reservation. So a lot of times you have a 45-minute wait. So, hey, buy some flowers, just walk around and shop. They get you to spend some money before you even get down there. But even just being out there when it's a nice day is really nice. But
well, I like to support the local because we're locally owned, and I think it's good to support the local.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. So, Maryann, I want to thank you for coming on the show today. Obviously, thank you for letting STL Bucket List be a part of your guys' family. And really, I can kind of talk about our partnership a little bit. So with the neighborhood series, we really hope to not only highlight St. Louis and highlight the neighborhoods and highlight all the uniqueness that we have in our city, but also highlight what you guys do for St. Louis as agents and put faces to the neighborhoods of people that specialize in selling homes in those neighborhoods. So the first neighborhood series would have already came out by the time you guys are listening to this. So we visited the Hill. We visited your childhood home. We have some old pictures that we're going to share too of you and your brothers on the porch. Really, can't wait to see. I can kind of give you guys a little outlook on some of the other neighborhoods that we're going to be featuring pretty soon. So Benton Park was number two on our list. So we're going to be going out there. Webster Groves. Downtown St. Charles, we didn't even get to talk about the beautiful historic downtown St. Charles. Clayton DeMunn, you mentioned, amazing neighborhood. That little strip there, one of the best nights you can have in St. Louis is you get some wine at Sasha's up on the rooftop, you get dinner at Louis, and then you finish it off with Clementine's for ice cream right next to there and get a little ice cream cup, all within those 3 blocks right there. I mean, that place is packed. Maplewood, where we're at right now recording this, U-City, Soulard, Dogtown, Cottleville. We have this huge list of neighborhoods that you guys curated all the way out to Grafton, Illinois. We forget to talk about them. Grafton is beautiful. We were just out there at the loading dock, which was awesome. North and Southampton, Tower Grove, Central West End, Bevo Mill, Cherokee Street, Midtown, Maryland Heights, Creve Coeur, Cottleville, all these different places that Ladue, Worson Woods, Frontenac. So all these different places in St. Louis, and those are just a few handfuls of the neighborhoods. I don't even know how many neighborhoods there are, but there's probably hundreds and hundreds of different neighborhoods that we can feature. So I'm super excited about that, and super excited that you took the time over the last week to spend a couple hours with us to create some content. So.
Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure, and I like working with you, Lucas. Thanks.
All right. I appreciate it, and we'll see you guys next week. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Hey, St. Louis, Brent Labowitz, Labowitz Law Firm, personal injury law firm here in St. Louis. Excited to be part of the STL Bucket List and sponsor them for their podcast. Just want to go ahead and say, if you ever need a personal injury lawyer here in town in St. Louis, give us a call, look us up. You get involved in an accident of any type at all, give us a call, free case evaluation. We'll try to walk you through the process.
Today, they rep St. Louis. What to do in the loo on a late night, or maybe what to do on a date night. Yeah, Bucket List has you covered. They know what's going on. What's going on?